And please title the next blank left page in your notebook, adding, subtracting decimal notes. Alright, adding and subtracting decimals is 100% a review. Okay, so we're gonna go through these notes. Shouldn't take us too long to get through the notes, and then you guys are going to do some task cards independently. I mean, that's kind of what today is. Because we do have to review, just to kind of refresh. And then tomorrow we'll do multiplying. Wednesday we will do dividing, and so on and so forth. If you take a look at the calendar, everyone look over there, we have a full month. That's just educational stuff. That's nothing else. Alright, so kind of just take a look at what all you have going on this month. Next Monday, we are doing our Unit 1 study guide, and then Tuesday you're taking your Unit 1 test. Okay, that's the first test. That is the only test of the 9 weeks. We don't take a ton of tests. We do a lot of quizzes. We do a lot of classwork, but we do not do a ton of tests. The other thing, every Friday, what is due? Delta Math. So if you're not doing your Delta Math, guys, you are losing a significant amount of points. I am taking the grade that you're earning, and that is what I will be putting into the grade book. So if you think you're just going to go through and just put any answer in, and you get a 0, that's the grade you're going to get. So at that point, you might as well not even do it, because you're still going to get a 0. Put some effort in. Now, I know that the videos were not working last week. We're still trying to figure some things out about it. If you could not get the videos to watch, but you did everything else, you're still going to get the grade minus the videos. Does that make sense? So if you got 100 on everything else, but the videos didn't play, you're not going to get points taken off because of the videos. That's not your fault. Does that make sense? So please don't worry about that. I don't just go in and look at a grade. I go in to make sure, okay, this is what they did, this is what they did, this is what couldn't happen. And if it's more than one student, or I get a couple emails from students, I'm going to say, okay, well, obviously that was not their fault. That was overall a Delta Math problem. Okay? But you have got to be doing Delta Math. If you're not doing Delta Math, if you're not doing your homework, if you're not doing your classwork, you are going to fail. Doesn't matter if you ace every quiz and every test in here. If you don't stop drawing, I'm going to lose my mind. Put it away. What were my instructions? Classwork and homework is 45% of your grade. If we are looking at percentages, which we haven't talked about yet, but when we talk about it, 45% is really close to what? 50. So classwork and homework is 50% of your grade. If you don't do any of it, you are going to get below a 50. I don't know what else to tell you guys. You have technically 4 weeks, 3 weeks, because my grade book closes on the 20th, and grades are due on the 20th. So you have 3 weeks to get, if you haven't been doing anything, to get yourself up and moving. All right, go ahead, grab your paper that I just passed out. Alright, Mrs. Mui is reviewing how to add and subtract whole numbers with her students. Help Mrs. Mui by solving the problems below. Alright, go ahead, solve these 3 problems, and then stand up when you are done. All right, let's go ahead and go over these. So 456 minus 233. Raise your hand. Tell me what is your answer. All right, Jake.
223.
223. Do we have to borrow or anything from any of these? No. All right, the next one. 174 plus 45. Silas, or Sincere, sorry. What was it? 220. 224. Okay. Are you sure? Okay. All right. So we should have camera 1. Yeah, 224. And it just froze. All right, and then the last one, 326 minus 89. Christian.
237.
All right, did you have to borrow or anything in this one? Yes, so we have to borrow here. That gives us 7. That gives us 3, and that gives us 2. All right, so a process that you probably used, obviously you didn't write these, but a process that you essentially use when you're adding and subtracting is just lining up your place values, right? What is the problem? I need you guys to move. Like, please, everybody at that table, find a new seat today. Honestly, like, I can't. I don't want to be all over you today. So everybody at the table needs to find a new seat. That is an empty table today. Please do not sit together again tomorrow. If there's not, there only needs to be one person left at that table. Line up place values. I think that's it. All right, so how would this process be applied if you're adding and subtracting decimals? So in these 3 problems, we lined up our place values, or technically they lined them up for us, right? So then how does lining up your place values apply to adding and subtracting decimals? That's what it's asking. Silas?
You have to line up your
Okay, so line up decimals, and also what though? Like, yes, we line up our decimals, but what else do we also line up? Huh? Who? No. There's something else that we specifically line up. Gracie.
decimal point.
We already said that. Line up decimals, but what else, guys? What else has to line up? Blake? No. I'll give you a hint. We already wrote it. What else has to line up? Angel? Yes. And you're going to say, but Miss Kinney, if you line up your decimals, you line up your place values. Technically, yes, but sometimes what do we have to put for some of those place values? Gracie? 0, which is our placeholder. All right. So looking at the few steps that we do have when we are adding and subtracting. So we're going to line up our numbers based on their place value. And we're going to include any placeholders. And then we add or subtract like place values. Down here, it kind of gives you like a grid, and then it gives you this big giant dot, which is our decimal. And some of these we have decimals, some of these we do not have decimals. So that's something else you have to figure out as well. So it says for number 1, 379 minus 54. Well, in our little box down here, stop writing for a second. In our box down here, we have decimals, but in our numbers, do we have any decimals? Visible decimals. No. So this is where sometimes it is a little bit tricky because we technically have 2 whole numbers. Hopefully most of us know that 379 is there. Decimals at the end of a whole number. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously 54 goes here. and we're going to subtract. So thumbs up when you have that done. Alright, what do you do? Excuse me. 379 minus 54. Raise your hand and tell me what do you get. Kira? I can't hear you, Ben.
325.
Yes. So you end up with 325, and that is our answer. All right. Now, looking at number 2, what do you notice? Raise your hand and tell me, what do you notice that's different from number 1? Silas H.
Decimals.
There's decimals. So now we have to be a little bit more careful. So we need to do 37 and 9/10 minus 5 and 4/10. Okay, go ahead, do your subtraction. Thumbs up when you have your answer. All right, what do you get? Gabe?
32.
This is from, how about you,
Okay.
I could, you want me to give these Franklin?
No, I'll take it up because I have to give her receipts. And then you forwarded the conference dues as well
Yes.
to her,
Yeah.
so she should be, and we just send that to,
How about you?
okay, good, it does go to half of them. Okay, I'll make sure that she knows that when I tell her.
I'm about to go paint the soccer field, no telling how it's gonna look,
That's
but
all right.
I'll have to go paint.
It'll look great.
Yeah.
Gabe, what was the answer? I'm sorry.
32.
So 32 fifths, 32 and a half, 32. What do you notice about this answer and this answer? What's the only difference between the two? Joshua? Well, there's no zeros, and then what do we notice about our decimals, Joshua? Huh? I just didn't hear what you said. Okay, so we have a place value that's empty, and we've moved our decimals over one to the left, right? Okay. Now, for number 3, what do you think the answer is gonna, do you think it's gonna be similar to number 1 and number 2? Okay, because we're still using those same numbers, right? All right, so do 3 and 79/100 minus 54/100. Thumbs up when you have your answer. So again, what do you notice about this answer? What do you notice about this answer, Samantha?
That we're using the same numbers over and over again, but every time we get a different problem, we're moving the number one.
Yes. So the decimal is the only thing that is moving. All right. But is it just the decimal that's moving, or is something else moving as well? Silas? So if the answers are moving, because originally we started out with 325, is the answer for number 2 325? No, it is not. It's 32 and a half. Is the answer for number 3 32 and a half? No, it's 3 and 25/100. So the decimal place is moving, which also means that no, not numbers. You guys keep calling these things numbers. They're not numbers. Place values are moving. All right, so take what we just talked about and answer number 4. It says, what patterns do you notice in the problems above? All right, so what was something that you noticed? Or like what was a pattern? Gabriel. So digits are the same. Just speak up a little.
The answers are different.
Why are the answers different? Did we move the decimal? Sorry. All right. So take your highlighter real quick. I want you to highlight the decimals in each one of these. And then just highlight 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so I just passed out some paper clips to your group. Those of you, leave them alone, do not touch them. Those of you with 4 people, you have 2. Those of you with anything less than 4, you have 1. So slide over to the top of the right side. It says, use your pencil, a paper clip, and spin each spinner on the right. So if you have, now stop touching the paper clips and just leave it alone. So if you only have one paper clip, like you have one paper clip between the 2 of you. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this in the middle, and then I'm gonna spin it, and I'm gonna pick 87. So spin 1, you're gonna add 87 plus, and then I'm gonna put it on the other spinner. Okay, and then I'm gonna spin it, plus 19 and 2/10. Okay? Oh, sorry, it should be like this, but I don't want y'all to get confused. So you're gonna put these 2 down here. Do not write this, because I want you guys to do this on your own. Why did I put my decimal there? Why did it go there? Silas?
Because the decimal for 87 is behind the number.
Right, so the decimal for 87 is behind the number,
And that lines up with that.
and it lines it up. So when I add these together, I end up with 106 and 2/10. So that is what you guys are doing. So you're going to spin it, essentially both of them, write your information in, then you're going to subtract, then you're going to add, then you're going to subtract. So you guys are essentially creating 4 math problems for yourself or for your pair. All right, go ahead, do that. When you're done, please stand up. I'm going to set a timer. Go ahead. All right, you guys should be working. So there should be conversation because technically you're working with a partner. No, we're not using the bathroom in the middle of the lesson.
Can you use paper towels because there's water all under our table?
Yeah, those paper towels are not very good, so grab the one behind Sincere. Those paper towels aren't very good. I just sent Summer to grab the other ones. So, 'cause they're not gonna- Did you not get over on this?
I'm back with my trying to.
You do 4. Technically, you're doing 4. Remember, guys, you're coming up with 4 problems. 2 you're adding, 2 you're subtracting, okay? Motley, you don't need to hand out paper towels. Leave them there and go sit down. So you guys should have the same. No, not doing anything. So you've done all those. So right, let them know what your numbers are.
Alright, let's do this one now.
Guys, you were doing 4 problems, which means you're spinning technically 8 times. When we're done, please stand up. Together. There you go. Gotta be careful with it, right?
I just know section 1. loud as that. That's the biggest difference.
This would make it serious.
No, it's. It's 8-3.
When you are finished, please stand up. Okay, regardless, just move on. If you are standing, you are not talking. And if you're standing and you're sitting, you're definitely not talking.
Wait, I'll tell you how I did it. You have.
All right. Even if you're not finished, have a seat, please. Please have one person from your group bring me the paper clips if I did not collect them from you. All right, so obviously we probably, just put it up there. We probably do not have, guys. We obviously don't have the same problems. Now we might have the same number, but not the same problems. Who would like to raise your hand and tell me the two numbers that you got for the second one? Gabriel. Who? 9 and 1600ths. Okay, so when I do this, what do we know about 56? What do we know about 56? Zachary?
There's no decimal.
There's no decimal, so how do I know how to line up my two numbers?
Put a decimal and put two zeros behind it. How many decimal points there is?
Okay, so I can put a decimal here and then put two zeros because there's two place values. I can also use the 9 and the 6, right? The 9 and the 6 are both in what place value? The ones. All right, so then when I do my subtraction, I end up with 4, 8, bring my decimal straight down. Did you end up with 46 and 8400ths? Did I do my math wrong or did you do your math wrong? Are you sure? Because I can't math, so it doesn't mean anything. All right, did I do my math right?
I think so.
Well, someone check my math and make sure I did it right.
I don't understand.
I don't know.
My math isn't mathing.
My math never maths on Monday.
Over the 6 out of 15 or a 16?
That is a 15.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh, I think you did it right.
All right, let me bust out my calculator.
Wait a minute.
If you're not talking about the problem, then you shouldn't be talking. All right, I did my math right. I just checked it on a calculator.
Calculator's best friend.
You right. All right, raise your hand and tell me what is the next problem that you got. All right, Samantha.
56.
Guys, stop talking. I'm sorry.
I got 56 and then 11 and 7 hundredths.
Okay. All right, so very similar to the one we just did. We have to make sure we do what? Add a decimal and our placeholders and then line them up. And we're adding these two together. 67 and 700. Is that what you guys got? Okay. All right, and the last one. Who would like to? All right, Kira.
67.8 subtract 4.55.
You said 55.
Yep.
Okay. So I need to make sure that I line up my decimals. But what else do I have to put in this one? Kira, what else do I have to put in there? A what?
0.
I can't hear you.
0.
Yes. And why do I have to put that there?
Because it's a placeholder, right?
Yes. All right, guys. Like, what grade are we in?
6.
Okay, I just want to make sure because not only am I hearing people talking when I've repeatedly asked you to be quiet, I'm hearing noises. I'm hearing, like, did we forget what school we came to today? Did we forget whose class we're in today? Because of all the people in this hallway, you probably are sitting in the craziest person's class. You are about to see a crazy Miss Kenya on a Monday, and I don't really want to do that. Please stop talking. Please stop making noises. All right, Kira, from here, what do I do?
Can't do 0 minus 5.
Okay.
So you gotta take something from the 8
Okay.
and add it to the 0, which will make it a 10.
Okay.
And 10 minus 5 is 5.
Okay.
And 7 minus 5 is 2.
Okay.
Put the decimal.
Okay.
And then 7 minus 4 is 3. And then 6 minus nothing is 6.
Okay. So we end up with 63 and 25 hundredths. Okay. All right. So just a little bit of a different way for you guys to pick problems to come up with. All right. So number 5, it says a sandbox measures 2.5 meter or 2 8/10 meters by 1 9/10 meters. How many meters of wood will be needed to go around the perimeter of the sandbox? So perimeter, raise your hand and tell me, are we adding or are we multiplying? What are we doing when we find the perimeter? BK. Add. So I know this is a rectangle. What do I know about the opposite sides of a rectangle? What are the characteristics of the opposite sides of a rectangle?
The 2 side ones are going to be shorter than the top and the bottom ones.
Okay, but what do we know about the top and the bottom? What do we know about the left and the right? Zach.
Parallel.
They're parallel. None of that matters. None of that helps me find the perimeter. What do I know about the top and the bottom? What do I know about the right and the left that is going to help me find the perimeter? Blake.
The top and the bottom are the same, or the left and the right is the same.
Yes, so top and bottom are the same, left and right are the same. We are adding these 4 numbers up. What is the one thing I must do with my decimals? What do I have to do with them? Samantha? All right, so please stand up when you have your answer. Both of you have silent lunch because again, like we're sitting here and I don't understand why we're doing everything but what we're supposed to. Baby, you and Joshua cannot sit together, sweetie. Like y'all cannot focus when you sit together. All right, raise your hand. Tell me, what did you get when you added 2 eighths plus 1 ninth plus 2 eighths plus 1 ninth? Sincere. You say 9 and 4 4/10 meters. All right, thumbs up if you got that one right. Okay, the last thing on this page, it says put a check by the name of any student who solved a problem with a solution. What does the word solution mean in math? What does the word solution mean, Christian?
The answer?
Yes. All right, so any one of these that has an answer of 259 and 1600ths. All right, so you're adding these two, subtracting that one, and subtracting that one. Stand up when you have your answer. Why? Work now.
Who wants to stand up on
Stand up when you are finished. All right, what did you get when you did 187 and 49 hundredths plus 71 and 67 hundredths? Ansley?
259 and 1600.
Yes. Okay, so that one is one that works. All right, what did we get when we did 861 and 10 hundredths minus 601 and 94 hundredths? There's a lot more people standing up than have their hands up. Drake?
Oh, we get 260 and 8900.
might want to check your math a little. Did you borrow correctly? 'Cause remember, you got to borrow a lot in this one. Check your borrowing. Got to redo it. That's not right. BK.
259 and 600.
Nope. Close. Molly. Yes. So, if I wanted to do this where I have a little bit more room to make sure you guys see where you made your mistake. We cannot take 4 from 0, so we have to borrow. That gives me a 6. We cannot take 9 from 0, so we have to borrow again. 9 minus 10 is 1. Alright, I cannot take 1 from 0, so I have to borrow again. 10 minus 1 is 9, 5 minus 0 is 5, and 8 minus 6 is 2. Okay, so please make sure if you got that one wrong that you redo it a little bit lower with the correct borrowing. Borrowing is going to be a big thing. Y'all got to know how to borrow. Alright, and the last one, 460 minus 211 and 1600. Alright, Isaac. 248 and what? 8400. Alright, so this one worked, but Lily did not. Alright, please go ahead, get this glued into your notebook on your notes page. You don't need to ask to borrow a glue stick. If you don't have one, get up and go get one. Remember, you're folding this in half and gluing it down. Get it? Get this glued in, please. Just glue it in. Lord, son. Please title the next blank right page, adding and subtracting task cards, and then today's date, which is 10/2. All right, there are 28 task cards on your table. It is adding and subtracting. Some of them are just straight computation, which means it's a number with a decimal plus a number with a decimal, or a number with a decimal minus a number with a decimal. Some of them are word problems, okay? Please do not write on the task cards. I know I said this last week, but yet we still chose to write on them, and I know this class wrote on them because second period found them. So, I mean, there's only leaves one class, right? Do not write on these. Do not highlight them. Just read them. Just solve everything in your notebook. They're obviously not going to be in order. You're not going to do them in order, BK. But there are numbers on them, so please make sure that you're looking at the number in the bottom. I think it's left corner, right corner. It's got, you'll see the number. And you're just numbering it, number whatever to number whatever to number whatever. All right? Whatever you do not finish in class today is homework. But please complain some more. You have more than 20 minutes. And again, this is adding and subtracting. This isn't multiplying. This isn't divide. Like, it's just straightforward adding and subtracting. Okay, this should not be one of those like extremely hard things. All right, go ahead, get started.